All right, let's go. This is the review of the 2024 Lexus GX 550 Premium Plus. We bought this just like everyone else does. At a dealership, we go in and negotiate the best deal, we bring it back home, and then after some break-in miles, we put it through our battery of 50 tests. So the GX 550 Premium Plus that we bought uses a 349 horsepower, 3.4-liter turbocharged V6 engine. It's paired with a 10-speed automatic transmission, and it uses full-time four-wheel drive. That means it has a high or a low range, but you're never in two-wheel drive whatsoever. It costs $67,900 MSRP. To that, we added a cold area package with headlamp washers and windshield washer de-icer, traffic jam assist, luggage cover, head-up display, and a digital key, along with door edge guards. With the $1,350 destination charge, our GX rang up at $71,610. So the new GX is 5 inches longer and 4 inches wider than the version it replaced. It's also a little bit taller and has a slightly longer wheelbase. That allows it to have a third-row seat yet again, something that the Toyota Land Cruiser in the US does not offer. So since the GX isn't really a racetrack SUV, it has nice bolsters that give you support, but they don't really make you feel confined. The seats have adjustability to raise the front of the cushion independently of the bottom back cushion. Also, you can recline or make the seat back more upright, and there's two-way lumbar, so it doesn't go up and down, but it is well positioned. So with Lexus being the luxury division of Toyota, you can expect that the Lexus GX is going to be a lot nicer than the Toyota Land Cruiser, and it is. However, for a $71,000 SUV, you don't necessarily get the same feeling of luxury that you might expect. Aside from some nice stitching, padded surfaces like the armrests, there's an interesting red background on the inner door panel here. It's a dour interior, and it doesn't really feel particularly luxurious. It feels a little more utilitarian. But again, at $71,000, you may expect a little more luxury from your SUV. The seating position really does put you in a good spot so that you can reach all of the controls and displays without a lot of straining. For example, we really like the fact the gear selector, the traditional gear selector, is right here at hand. The climate controls, the displays and the control is manual, and it's right up on the front screen. You don't have to dig into menus to go through there. One drawback, however, is that the system is a little slow to start up. The infotainment screen is pretty traditional, standard Lexus Toyota display for current generation vehicles. You know, you've got your infotainment map, you've got music, phone, you can pair Apple CarPlay or Android Auto phone wirelessly, which is really nice. The GX does have some specific off-road features. So a screen here that shows you exactly how much you're using the accelerator, how much brake pressure you're putting on, and then also angles of departure and approach, and also how much, what angle you're at going side to side when you're doing off-road activities. Also, there's the locking center differential, which allows you to send the same amount of power, split it equally between the front and the rear wheels. So coming around to the back, the tailgate, fortunately, is a conventional one. Doesn't open to the side, it opens straight up, which is nice. Power lift gate. So as you can see, it has a really nice flat load floor when the power folded third row seats are retracted. Our Premium Plus version comes with the vanity cargo cover. It's really nice to have, protects your belongings from prying eyes, but you obviously can't raise the seat when it's in place. Bigger issue with this is that A, you have to lean all the way across the dirty bumper to get it out, which is a kind of an awkward process, and there's nowhere in the vehicle to store it when you're not using it. So basically, if you're not going to use the cargo cover because of the third row seat, you got to leave it at home. Now, once you do that, you see you can raise the third row seats individually. There's spots for 2 people. They're slow, but they work pretty well. Once you get them raised, however, another issue is that there's really not a lot of cargo room like many third row SUVs have when you're using all the seating positions. In our second row of our Lexus GX, you can see we have the 3-person bench seat. There's also a 2-person captain's chair setup that's available as well. Here we find the seats are kind of low and flat, so there's not a ton of leg support, under thigh, hamstring support there, and your knees are a little bit up in the air. There is decent toe room under the 2 front seats, but for that middle passenger who's an adult, you're going to kind of drive around with your legs jacked up in the air and not a lot of foot room. So it's a 3-passenger second row seat, but really best for kids to be in that middle position, maybe a car seat as well. When you close the door, there's a pretty decently sized window here. Even though there's no panoramic sunroof in ours, you have decent headroom. Center armrest too, that's nicely padded as well. Overall, decent space for 2 adults. 3 is going to be pretty snug. As Toyota products go, it's actually pretty easy to flip and fold the second row seats in the GX. It's a simple handle, that same reclining seat back handle. Just a quick pull, and it flips and folds up. And then once you do that, you climb to this kind of narrow space to get to the third row. I'm a 6 foot tall adult. There's not really much leg support underneath these small seats. They're more like jump seats. Add in the fact that when you drop the seat and raise it back up, there's not much knee room for a person to sit in the second row normally, and there's virtually no toe room whatsoever for my size 11 shoes. So what is nice is that there's controls on the kind of the front panel here where you can raise and lower the third row seat from the doorway of the second row. What's odd is that there's a control on the back here to recline the seat a little bit for the third row. As you can see, there's not really a huge range of motion when you're reclining or adjusting the seat back. So underway in the Lexus GX 550, first thing you notice is that you really have great visibility. I mean, you sit up high, you can see the front corners very well, you can see out the side very well, you can see to the rear very well. One thing is that you might notice, the mirror is real interesting. Like current trends, is sitting on the door panel itself, not at the apex of the front windshield pillar in the door. They're very tall and narrow. Because of that feeling, even though you can position them wide enough to really see your blind zone, it still feels as if they're cutting off a little bit of what your visibility is or what you're seeing. So I found myself, and some other Consumer Reports testers have found that they've double checked or triple checked their blind zone when driving, just because of the mirrors. Sure, the Lexus comes fully stocked with forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking, rear cross traffic warning, blind spot warning, but you still don't necessarily want to rely on those systems fully, which is why the tall mirror is an issue. Now, this is a big vehicle, is an off-road focused body-on-frame vehicle, so you think like a pickup truck type of platform, and as such, it is roly-poly. So going around turns at speed, going over some like undulations in the road where it's up and down, you definitely feel that the body moves around a lot. Not to the point of being dangerous, but it just definitely is not a sporty handling SUV. You're rarely going to be whipping it around a very tight road course like we have here at the Consumer Reports Auto Test Track. But still, it doesn't feel dangerous. It doesn't feel particularly ungainly. It just isn't really designed to be whipping around tight corners. But, never did the vehicle feel like it's going to lift a wheel or tip over or anything like that. So that wraps up our review of the 2024 Lexus GX. For more information on the Lexus and other luxury 3-row SUVs, go to consumerreports.org.